I am Alka Chaturvedi. I am chartered accountant and my passion is astrology. I did Jyotirvid and Jyotirvisharad from Bhavans, Mumbai, and Hora Ratnam and Hora Vachaswati from KP Stalaroff Institute, Chennai. And I did psychological astrology from Faculty of Astrological Studies, UK. I have always told you that the alphabets of astrology is planet, sign, house and aspect. And now now I'll start telling you about the houses. You know, the sun moves on ecliptic and you'll find all the zodiac signs on it, like Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo, all the signs are on the ecliptic. And the houses are formed because of the Earth's rotation on its own axis and division of ecliptic into 12 parts. So these, you know, all these planets, they pass through all the 12 signs during the day. The position of houses, like zodiac sign, is fixed in the universe. When a person is born, the point which is directly above him at that time is called heaven or mid-heaven or middle of the heaven, and the point which rises on the east is called the rising sign or ascendant. And in that manner all the houses are formed. You know, we get rising sign and we get mid-heaven, and with that we make all the 12 signs. From rising sign, then the second house is there, then third house is there. But I want to tell you that in the universe there are no lines. We just could calculate all of them mathematically. So but these houses, as everywhere, you know, so many astrologers have defined these lines in a different manner. You know, so, these are called different, these houses are based on different astrologers. They have adopted, some adopt equal house system, some adopt Placideus, some Koch, some Shripati, Krishnamurti. You know, there are different ways of making 12, the classification of 12 houses. The position of the houses, like zodiac sign, is fixed in the universe. When a person is born, the point which is directly above where the person is born is called the mid-heaven or the middle of the heaven. And the point which rises on the east is called the rising sign or ascendant. And in that manner, all 12 houses are formed. You know, we get rising sign, we get mid-heaven, and then we divide the ecliptic into 12 houses. But the astrologers, various astrologers have done different calculation to calculate the various house system. In equals house system, all the houses are equivalent. You know, they all are of 30 degrees. But in Placidus, Koch, you know, they can be less than 30 degrees or more than 30 degrees. More than 30 degrees means the house may consist of 2 signs. And so this way they do the classification of the houses. You know, the temperament of houses corresponds to zodiac signs. Like, you know, first house corresponds to Aries sign, second house corresponds to Taurus sign, and so on. And you know, Gemini, third house corresponds to Gemini sign, and so on. So when we consider planet, house, sign, then we come to know about how a particular energy is unfolding in a person's chart. So today we'll talk about the classification of houses. You know, I want to introduce various type of classification where you just have to look at the horoscope and without considering or their sign or the aspects, you can come to know a lot of things about the person, about yourself or the other person. Now I'll tell you about the classification of houses. You know, if you know about if you know about the classification of houses, so just by looking at the chart you can come to know a lot of things. You don't have to consider their sign or aspect of the planets. You can just interpret a lot of things just by looking at the chart. First of all, the horoscope can be divided into 4 hemispheres, like lower hemisphere and upper hemisphere, eastern hemisphere and western hemisphere, and it gives you a lot of things. It gives us a lot of information. So if there are many planets in lower hemisphere means below the horizon. So if a person is born between sunset and sunrise, then his sun will be in lower hemisphere. In lower hemisphere, the houses which comes are 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th and 6th. If majority of planets are in these houses or sun is in these houses, then the person is generally introvert, private and focused towards personal issues. So the person whose majority planets are below horizon, they are generally private person. They are busy with their own matters. So and then is the upper hemisphere. So if a person is born after sunrise and before sunset, then his sun will be in upper hemisphere, and the houses which comes in under upper hemisphere are 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th and 12th. If the person's sun is in upper hemisphere or majority of planets are in upper hemisphere, then he is generally extrovert, social and concerned with social or other people's issue. They are not focused about their own matters. They want to know about the other people and the world also. And then comes the eastern hemisphere and the western hemisphere. If a person's planets are above MC and IC axis, then it is considered as that he is born in a eastern hemisphere. So the houses under eastern hemisphere are 3rd, 2nd, 1st, 12th, 11th, 10th. If a person's sun is in eastern hemisphere, then he is generally self-motivated, initiating, action-oriented, assertive. They do not care about others' opinion and they have strong willpower. They take action on their own and accept whatever outcome. They will not consult anybody before taking any major decision. So if a person's has majority of his planet in western hemisphere, so western hemisphere is below MC and IC axis. So the houses comes under western hemisphere are 9th, 8th, 7th, 6th, 5th and 4th. If a person's sun is in western hemisphere, then he is generally receptive and relationship oriented. They allow family, children, colleagues and partner in taking decision of their life. They discuss other people when they are taking any decision in their life. They consider others' needs first before considering their own need. They consider that their life situation is like a kind of fate or it is in other people's control. In the same way as we divided the horoscope in 4 hemispheres and we came to know a lot of things about ourselves, we can divide it into 4 quadrants. So in 4 quadrants, so first quadrant consists of 1st, 2nd and 3rd house, which shows our childhood. Here we come to know about what were the conditions when we were born. We can discover about our values and our communication. So people whose majority planets are in the first quadrant, they are concerned about these matters. The second quadrant consists of 4th, 5th and 6th house, and this shows the youth period. And if a person has majority of planets in this quadrant, then he is rooted, he's focused about his family matters and his pleasure, and he follows his routine. So if a person has a dominance of planet in third quadrant, that is 7th, 8th and 9th house, then he wants to learn, he wants to learn about cooperation or death, sharing resources, and exploring the meaning of the life, the philosophical questions, because 7th, 8th, 9th houses deals with these questions and these matters. And the fourth quadrant consists of 10th, 11th and 12th house, and it is the end of the life, you know, towards the maturity. So the person who is having these kind of focus, then they are focused towards making their place in the world. They want to contribute towards society, and finally the charity or dissolution. And like houses, like sign, houses can also be divided into can be divided on the basis of mode. You know, mode means the angular house, succeedent house and cadent house. If a person has majority of his planet in angular houses are 1st, 4th, 7th and 10th house, so it means action. So how we deal with the present situation and the action people take, it deals with self and others, personal and public, who I am, where do I come from, where am I going. You know, the key word for these houses is action. So if a person has majority of his planet in these houses, he seems to be an action oriented person. Then the second classification is succeedent houses. So if a person has majority of his planet in 2nd, 5th and 8th and 11th houses, then these houses have a fixed and stable qualities. So he has stable and a fixed kind of a temperament. It tells about the resources available to us, because you know, 2nd house deals with us resources, the 5th house deals with our desire or our pleasure, and then 8th house tells about death and sharing our resources with others, and the 11th house tells about friendship. And you know, these houses tells that they want a kind of stability. So a person is security conscious if he has majority of planets in these houses. Then the last thing comes is cadent houses. So if a person has majority of his planet in 3rd, 6th, 9th and 12th houses, so then it shows that we think before taking action and using our resources, and it shows areas of life where there is an adjustment, exchange or orientation. It deals with experiences and adoption. You know, they deal, you know, because you know, in cadent houses, the house earlier is the fixed house, and the house which comes after cadent house is the action house. So that we try to adjust ourselves and take action. The cadent house matters shows like that. And then houses can be classified on the basis of element also. So the first house is Trinity of Spirit, means the houses which comes under these is 1st, 5th and 9th house. You know, they tells about the person's identity, self-expression. And if a person has majority of planet in these houses, then he is optimistic, enthusiastic and adventurous person. And Trinity of Matter consists of 3 houses, like 2nd, 6th and 10th house. So these houses shows where we look for security, and how do we utilize our skill and organize and take the responsibility. So these are concerned with our resources, these houses. And if Trinity of Relationship covers 3rd, 7th and 11th houses, you know, here these are relationship houses. So these are the areas where we exchange ideas, share and connect with others. It includes all kinds of social contact, contract and relationship with others. Then the last is the Trinity of Soul. So in this, the houses in Trinity of Soul, the 4th, 8th and 12th house comes under it. Here we try to understand the subtle and hidden side of life, which are harder to express and depends a lot on our gut feeling. You know, these are the various kinds of classification I have told you. When you're first you make the horoscope, and then you just look how the planets are placed in the horoscope, and then you'll come to know a lot of things about it. First of all, I told you that the point which is directly above where we are born is called the midheaven, and the planet and the sign which is rising in the east is called the rising sign. And by these two points we derive all 12 houses, and all these 12 houses, all the astrologers have so many astrologers have given different calculation, and so many times the house can be on the basis of different astrologers, we can have the different size of houses, you know, but generally they are same, but maybe 1 or 2 degrees are 1 or 2 degrees differ. And in equal houses, as I said, it's consists of 30 degrees. All the houses are of the same degrees, but in Placidus, the one house can be smaller, one house can be bigger. You know, sign will be 30 degrees, but one house can consist of the whole sign or intercepted sign. I'll keep telling you about all these things also from time to time. And when after you have made your horoscope, then you just look at it, you know, because a rising sign shows the point. It's generally sun is on. If a person is born at the time of sunrise, then his sun is generally in the first house, and if he is born around mid-noon, then his sun will be in 10th house. And when we get rising sign in 10th house, then on the basis of that we derive all the 12 houses. And then by looking at it, we can come to know that if a person has lot of planet below horizon, then he tends to be private person. But if he has lot of planets in above horizon, then he tends to be a social person. And if a person has